What is good, YouTube? Quinway Basketball Analysis coming to y'all while holding down AnalysisPlayground.com at the same time on YouTube while listening to analysis at the same time. And we're going to talk about free agency. I haven't talked about a lot of the free agency news as I let it build up to give it more of its own video. So we had some news break that John Wall is most likely going to get bought out. As we starting to see, there's no way that he's really going to get traded unless the Rockets really just want nothing in return because his contract is just too high, too much money, and I don't really see too many teams that can really match it without giving up significant pieces to get him in that trade, which I don't think they will want to do. They want to add John Wall because they feel like he's the missing piece. And honestly, the best way to do that is just let him get a buyout and just sign him, and then you don't have to give up nothing but a roster spot, and some teams already have that could get them. So I don't see a reality where a trade actually happens to move John Wall, but I do see a buyout eventually happening, and John Wall picking a contender or a team that wants him and playing for them and try to rebuild his game and his brand as he doesn't want to play for the Rockets anymore. And he didn't play terrible last season, but didn't play great either. Maybe he can fix that with a whole off season because they got eliminated from playoffs pretty early. Plus, he didn't play the entire season anyway. Maybe another healthy off season and a motivation with a new team can get him on the right path. But that's enough with John Wall. We also can say Aaron Gordon has agreed to a 4-year, $92 million extension with the Nuggets. When they traded for Aaron Gordon, it was clear that they wanted to keep him. We knew that he could easily leave as a free agent, as he is a guy that people will want and people will pay. But when you make a trade and give up assets to bring him in to fill that Jeremy Grant role, which he did pretty well besides offensively, you definitely want to retain him. Even if you don't want to keep him long term, you can still use him as an asset like the Magics did after they extended him and traded him to Denver. But I like Aaron Gordon. He's a great defender, can play multiple positions, can defend multiple positions, can be a solid rebounder. I just want him to up his shot creation ability, just hit some mid ranges, continue to give us great 3-point shooting, but just be able to do something off the dribble, be able to get to the basket, be able to get to the free throw line, be able to just score at least 17 to 18 points per game. That's what they need him to do. That's something that they got out of Grant. That's something that he hasn't shown that he can do. Even in Orlando, his best years, still wanted a little bit more, still felt like he can get a little bit more. When you look at his body, his jumping ability, and his athleticism, he should be able to do it, especially because he has improved as a shooter. I don't see why he can't improve his shot creation ability. And if he does that, he can be very, very valuable when Jamal Murray comes back. And if Michael Porter Jr. continues to improve and Jokic stays healthy and continues to dominate, they can eventually win a title. If everything clicks their way and things go their way, they should be able to get it done eventually, even if it's not this season, which is their goal at the end of the day with this core. Caleb Martin and the Heat agreed to a two-way deal. This is a team that's interested, want to give him a shot, want to give him a try, and they want to see what he's going to bring to the table. And if they want to keep him, they'll keep him. If not, they'll waive him and give it to the spot to somebody else. The Pelicans also signed Jerry Harper and James Bank the third, two camp deals. So they're going to try out for the roster and see if they can make it. It's going to be interesting. I don't think these guys make it long term with this team, but anytime you can add depth, I think that that's a good thing. And the Lakers are doing the same. The Lakers are looking to work out Kenneth Faried. I think they should keep their option open for Kevin Love. We know he might get bought out. I'd rather have Kevin Love because he can give you the same amount of rebound, if not better. But he also can give you the passing in the mid-range and three-point scoring and post scoring. So I think that they should hold that roster spot for Kevin Love because he has relationships with LeBron, won a title with LeBron, and he is at the point in his career where he is a role player already in Cleveland. So I'd rather have Kevin Love than Kenneth Faried. So I think they should keep that option open in the future, even if it's around buyout time, to try to bring in Kevin Love for it. I also want to see Marc Gasol. He gets traded from LA to Memphis, and then he will be bought out. He basically wanted to go back to the Grizzlies, the place where it all started, where he became Defensive Player of the Year, where he became an All-Star and made a name for himself and his whole reputation. And the Lakers eventually was going to move on from him because they didn't use him. They didn't play him a lot. And honestly, they got more centers with DeAndre Jordan, and they obviously brought in Dwight Howard. and they looking for another forward that can do similar things. Like I said, Kevin Love, possibly, and Kenneth Faried is already somebody they're interested in. So it'd be interesting to see what he does. Is he done for good, or will he try to play again? It looks like he's done at this point, but he has had a great career. So eventually they all come to an end. Charles Baisley continues to seek multi-year deal with 2-year guarantee from the Sixers. So we'll see what happens with him. Also, we have a lot of other people that are just working out. We also got Derek Austin Jr. signing with the Jazz. We got Paul Watson Jr. signing a 2-year deal with the Thunder. Um, the Hornets will hire Norm Richardson as an assistant coach. That's important. Um, Damian Dotson will not play for the Cavaliers anymore as he was waived. Same with Josh Hall. He was an interesting prospect. He got waived by the Thunder. Justin Robertson will also agree to a 2-way deal with the Bucks. We'll see if he's able to retain that spot throughout the season or if he gets waived. The Celtics are also interested in pursuing Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine, which is hilarious. The Lakers will hire John Lucas III as an assistant coach. He's been the mentor and the consistent coach around the league already. Just add depth in another mind that people respect to that coaching staff after Jason Kidd left. Um, I don't know how to say his name. I think it's his name, Georgie. He signs a deal with the Cavaliers for the camp. The Clippers also sign a camp deal with Isaiah Hartenstein. It's going to be interesting with him. They're getting some center depth if they keep him, but we'll see if he's able to keep the roster spot or if he's able to get it. The Heat also signed Micah Porter, Javante Smart, and Drew Smith to camp deals. Just trying to get guard and wing depth. One of them might make it. One of them might not even make it for the rest of the season if they do make it. Tough business, but at least they're getting some interest. Cavaliers to sign Denzel Valentine to a 2-year contract, but they haven't done that yet. But it's just a rumor. Timberwolves and Jordan McLaughlin agreed to a 3-year contract. That's interesting, but it's not worth much, and it gives them a lot of flexibility if they still want to let him go. If he disappoints or doesn't really prove enough to them, they still have the flexibility to cut him whenever they want. Same with Jared Vanderbilt. Um, He's an interesting prospect. They give him a 3-year, $13 million deal. You just happy to get paid. You just happy to be a millionaire, and you have a lot of potential to be a solid role player in this league, like he has already shown. Now we'll just see what he'll be, and if he stays with the Wolves, or if he even fills the rest of this contract on the roster. But it's still good to see him get paid. And like I said, the Lakers did trade Marc Gasol to the Grizzlies, and he will be expected to be waived. And Timothy Luwalu Cabarrot will agree to a non-guaranteed deal with the Atlanta Hawks. Just gives them another guard that can space the floor and play a role. Patrick Patterson agreed to a camp deal. It's crazy that he's at this point in his career where he's just getting a camp deal, but it's reality for him as the NBA has so much talent. And Jahlil Okafor, like I said, would be waived, and he will officially be waived a couple weeks ago by the Nets, so he's not on the NBA roster currently and doesn't even have a camp deal. And the Kings agreed to a camp deal with Emmanuel Terry. Emin Severns, he also acquired, unfortunately, a torn Achilles. He ended up rupturing it. And Luke Cornett will sign a camp deal. Moses Wright gets a Exhibit 10 deal, which is even worse than a camp deal. The Cavaliers will get a 2-year deal to Kevin Pangos. He will get a chance to prove himself with that 2-year deal. They can still waive him and cut him whenever they want to. It's not a very luxurious contract, and they can always get rid of him if they want to. Tremont Waters gets a training camp deal. Pacers also signed Nate Hilton to a camp deal. Same with Tyler Cook. The Magic also agreed to sign Etuan Moore, another guard that can be combo-ish and can defend multiple positions and give you some type of scoring. So it's interesting to see if he will remain on that roster throughout the entire season. Cavaliers also signed Trey Scott. Bulls signed Ethan Thompson. Juwan Morgan agreed to a camp deal with the Celtics. And Harry Giles agrees to a non-guaranteed deal with the Clippers, like I said, to give them depth at that center position. And unfortunately, TJ Warren will remain out indefinitely with that stress fracture. That's something that can end your career. Hopefully, it doesn't happen to TJ Warren, who showed a lot of potential in the bubble. And I really wanted to see if he can build upon that. but injuries kept them out all last year. They suffered because of it by missing the playoffs, and this is not off to a good start this year. And the Suns also will sign Chandler Hutchison, and that will be it. All the news is done, and everybody was covered to the best of my ability. And we also know that Ben Simmons is still not traded, and he's still out there, and we'll see where he goes. And I will cover that as soon as he gets traded, which is going to happen. We're just waiting to see what team he's going to go to and what they get for him. But other than that, Quinn Wade basketball analysis, wrapping up free agency, covering everybody to the best of my ability, and giving y'all that analysis. And I will end the day by saying, hopefully I see y'all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. I'm gone.